Ever felt like Thanksgiving dinner was a ticking time bomb? Well, mine literally exploded. You won't believe what happened. Hey everyone, Vincy here. Get ready for a Thanksgiving story that's darker than the gravy. Picture this: a cozy, rustic Thanksgiving gathering in my small village. The smell of pumpkin pie filling the air, and my entire family gathered around the table. Everything seemed perfect, idyllic even, but beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. A storm centered around a secret I'd been keeping for far too long. I thought I was ready to share it, to finally be my authentic self with the people I loved. I was wrong, dead wrong. The fallout was catastrophic, and it all started with my dad. The very man who was supposed to protect me, love me unconditionally, and guide me through life. Instead, he did something unforgivable, something that shattered our family and left me reeling in disbelief and pain. Buckle up, because this is going to be a bumpy ride. The tension had been building all day. My hands were clammy, my palms were sweating, and I felt a growing knot of anxiety in the pit of my stomach. Each innocent question from a relative felt like a probe, a potential landmine waiting to explode. You see, I had decided that I was finally going to tell my family that I was gay. This wasn't an easy decision. Growing up in a small, conservative village, being different wasn't exactly celebrated. I knew there was a risk, but I was tired of living a lie. Tired of hiding who I truly was. I wanted to share my life with my family, my joys, my fears, my loves. I wanted them to accept me, to understand me, to see me for who I truly was. But my dad, he always had a certain rigidity about him, a traditionalism that made me nervous. He had always been kind and loving, so I hoped his love would prove stronger than his values. I couldn't have been more wrong. As the turkey was being carved, I took a deep breath and began to speak. I started slowly, carefully, trying to choose my words with precision. I explained that there was something important I wanted to share, something that I had been holding on to for a long time. I could feel all eyes on me, the silence in the room amplifying the pounding of my heart. I talked about my struggles, my fears, and finally, I said the words, "I'm gay." The silence that followed was deafening. My mom looked at me with a mixture of shock and confusion. My siblings exchanged nervous glances. And my dad, his face turned a shade of red I had never seen before. He stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the wooden floor, the sound echoing through the room like a thunderclap. Without a word, he stormed out of the house. My heart sank. This was not the reaction I had hoped for, but a tiny, naive voice in my head still hoped things would get better. I figured he just needed time to process the information. Oh boy, was I wrong. He returned just minutes later, but he wasn't alone. He was holding my suitcase, and his face was contorted in anger. He walked straight towards me, his eyes blazing with fury, and without a single word, he threw my suitcase at my feet. The contents spilled out onto the floor, my clothes, my personal belongings, scattered like fallen leaves. He then said the words I will never forget, words that cut deeper than any knife. "Get out! You are no longer welcome in this house." The room gasped. My mom started crying. My siblings tried to intervene, but he wouldn't budge. He stood there, unyielding, a wall of anger and rejection. I was in shock, completely numb. I couldn't believe that my own father, the man who had raised me, could be so cruel, so unforgiving. I picked up my things, my hands trembling, and walked out of the house. Thanksgiving dinner, the warmth of family, all replaced by the cold, harsh reality of his disapproval. As I walked down the long, winding road away from my family home, I couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? I came to the realization that the only thing I had done was be my true, authentic self. The silence of the village street pressed in on me. The only sound was the crunch of leaves under my feet as I walked. The faces of my family at the window, watching my departure, were frozen in my memory. I felt an overwhelming sense of abandonment. This wasn't just rejection, it was a complete and utter dismissal. I wanted to run back, to beg him to understand, but I knew it was useless. He had made his decision, and there was nothing I could do to change it. As I trudged further, I had to come to terms with the fact that a large chunk of my life had just shattered into a million pieces. I spent the next few days bouncing from friend's couch to friend's spare room. My mind was racing a million miles an hour, trying to figure out what to do and what I should be thinking. The support from my close friends helped me push back against the depression and sadness that I was beginning to feel. They reassured me that I was unwrong for who I was and helped me formulate a plan of how to move forward from this awful situation. I knew I couldn't stay in this town forever, not after what had happened. But leaving also meant leaving behind the only life I had ever known. However, amidst the pain and confusion, a flicker of something else began to ignite within me. Anger. Not just sadness, not just hurt, but pure, unadulterated anger. Anger at my dad for his cruelty. Anger at my family for not standing up for me. Anger at the small-mindedness of this village. And with that, anger came a strange sense of liberation. For the first time in my life, I felt completely free. Free from the constraints of my family, free from the expectations of my community, free to be exactly who I wanted to be. This anger began to morph into a deep-seated desire for vengeance. I started making plans, not violent, destructive plans, but plans for success, for proving him wrong, for showing him that I was not someone to be discarded. I decided I would move to the city, build a new life for myself, and become the best version of myself. I would show him that his rejection was a mistake, that he had lost something valuable. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about self-respect, about reclaiming my life, about proving to myself that I was worthy of love and acceptance. I would make him regret the day he kicked me out. The best part is that I have done all of this and more. This is how I achieved my dreams and rebuilt my life after the worst Thanksgiving ever. So that's my story, a Thanksgiving gone horribly wrong, a father's betrayal, and a secret revealed. It's a story of pain, but also a story of resilience, of self-discovery, and ultimately, of triumph. It wasn't easy, but you know what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Now it's your turn. Have you ever experienced a family drama during the holidays? Share your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more real-life stories. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Share this video with anyone who might need to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!